Hello, bác David.
Hello.
Hello.
Kit, how are you?
I'm very good.
Good.
Today,
Hello, long time no see.
Yeah.
How
How
are
are
you?
you doing, Ein?
Yes.
Well, good to have you with us today. So how have you been?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Fine. A little bit busy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, we have an exciting lesson tonight.
yeah.
Yeah.
How are you, bác David? Are you good?
I'm doing good. Yeah. I had a good day. I went swimming this morning and I brought a friend home with me from the hospital this afternoon, and I'm taking care of him tonight. And so he's resting right now. So we'll just continue our lesson while he's resting. So that will be good. Is Tung going to be with us tonight?
Yes. He will join.
Good.
Let me
Yeah.
give him a message.
Okay. And Ein, what kind of work do you do?
I own a small business.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I sell jewelry online.
Okay. Selling jewelry online.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is the business a new business that you just started?
Yes.
Yes.
I just started around 4 months.
4 months?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Well, good. Well, I wish you success. I hope your
Thank you
business
so
does
much.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't wear any jewelry, or I would buy some jewelry from you. But I do wear a watch. Do you sell watches also?
No, just jewelry, but
Just
I saw
jewelry.
the Agago jewelry and I have model for men.
Uh-huh. Models of jewelry for men.
Yes.
More and more men are wearing jewelry. I see some men wearing earrings now. So
Earring.
that's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. And are you at work or are you at home today?
I work at home.
Oh, you work at home.
And
Yeah.
I go to her home and work.
My
Okay,
my
so
home is my
Yeah.
office too.
Yes.
okay, well there's Tung. So we have Tung and we have Ein and we have Kiet. So Tung, how are you doing tonight? Or this morning your time?
Yeah,
Night my
hello,
time,
Bác
morning
David.
your time.
Hello, Bác David. I'm doing
Hello.
great. Thank you. How are
Good.
you?
Wonderful. If I was any better, I would be Sendoi. I would be twins. There would be two of me. One good one, one bad one. So, yeah, I'm doing very well. I was just telling Ein and I was telling Kiet that I went swimming today,
Hmm.
and it's always a good day when I go swimming because it makes my heart stronger. And
Yeah.
then I have a friend I brought home from the hospital that I'm taking care of. And so he's sleeping right now. And so then after our lesson, I'll go up and check on him before I go to bed tonight.
Uh-huh.
But um, both of you asked good questions last week, and you asked the question about prayer. How do we pray? And so I sent you the words of Jesus, and Jesus gave a sample prayer of basically how he taught his disciples. But basically, prayer is just talking to God, just like you would your own father. And so, yeah, when you talk to your father, you just talk with somebody you've known all your life. And so it's a comfortable way of talking. So there doesn't have to be any form to it other than just with
Mm-hmm.
respect and with love, just like you would talk to your own parents
Mm-hmm.
with respect and with love. Um, Ein, are both of your parents still alive?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And how often do you talk to your parents?
I think a couple of days.
Oh, every
Sometimes.
day.
Yeah.
Good.
Uh,
Do they live near you?
no. They live far from me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Your hometown.
They live in my hometown, and it take 8 hours by car.
Long ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be maybe over 500 kilometers. Yeah.
Not really. Just 300.
300
300.
kilometers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a long way.
But now
Yeah.
we have internet. We don't worry about the distance.
So you get to, do your parents know how to use the internet?
They know. They
Yeah.
use Facebook and some chat application. Yeah.
So they're
Some chat app.
modern parents. Yeah, they're young at heart. Yeah, they're modern parents. And I asked my students a question in Hanoi, and the question was, how many students told their parents every day that they loved them? And not one person said they tell their parents they love them. And my question to them was, if you don't tell your parents you love them, how do they know you love them? And they said, well, we spend time with them. That's a demonstration of love.
Yeah.
By spending time with them, by bringing them food, bringing them flowers, and talking to them. So that's a wonderful thing that in your culture, you demonstrate love. Whereas in our culture, people feel they have to tell their parents that they love them. But demonstration is more powerful than telling.
Yeah, it's very hard to say love my parent.
Yes.
In our culture, this is not popular.
Yeah. And probably you wouldn't tell your parents thank you, would you? Because they would understand that you are appreciative. Yeah. In our culture, we tell our parents thank you. But in your culture, I never heard one Vietnamese student ever say "Cảm ơn rất nhiều" to their parents. Not one. So that's probably not part of your culture. Yeah. Well, tonight we have an interesting lesson. We have the chapter of John 18. And how would you like to read it? Would each of you like to read the same verses, or would you like to read different verses? In other words, I could have one of you read the first 5, and then another one read the second 5. But maybe to hear all of you read, we'll have you read all of the verses. So we'll take turns, and ladies go first. So I'm going to have you read the first 5 verses of John 18, verses 1 through 5, and then I'll have Tung read those same verses, and then last I'll have Kiet read those verses. So if you have John 18 there on your computer, Ein, can you read John 18 verses 1 through 5, please?
Of course. Jesus is betrayed and arrested. After saying these things, Jesus crossed the Kidron Valley.
The Kidron.
Kidron.
Yeah.
Kidron Valley.
Valley.
Kidron Valley with his disciples and entered a grove of olive trees. Judas, the betrayer, knew this place because Jesus has often gone there with his disciples. The leading priests and Pharisees had given Judas a contingent of Roman soldiers and temple guards to accompany him. Now, with blazing torches, lanterns, and weapons, they arrived at the olive grove. Jesus fully realized all that was going to happen to him. So he stepped forward to meet them. "Who are you looking for?" he asked. Jesus, the Nazarene? They replied, I am he. Jesus said. Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them.
Very good, Ein. Very good. You pronounced all the words correctly. And the words in the first verse, Kidron Valley, that was a valley close to Jerusalem. And so he crossed over there, but you
Kidron
pronounced all the
Valley.
words perfectly. Very good job.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
Kiet, can you read the same verses, please?
I or Tùng first. Okay.
Yeah, the same verses.
Yes. After Jesus is betrayed and arrested. After saying these things, Jesus crossed the Kidron
That's right. Kidron
Valley
Mm-hmm.
with his disciples and entered a grove of olive trees. Judas, the betrayer, knew this place because Jesus had often gone there with his disciples. The leading priests and Pharisees had given Judas a contingent.
Yeah, that's right. Contingent. That's right. You said that right.
Yeah, contingent of Roman soldiers and temple guards to accompany him. Now, with blazing torches, lanterns, that work with lanterns, right? Yeah.
That's right. Lanterns.
And weapons.
Mm-hmm.
They arrived at the olive grove. Jesus fully realized all that were going to happen to him, so he stepped forward to meet them. Who are you looking for? He asked. Jesus, the Nazarene. They replied, I am he. Jesus said, Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them.
Good. Very good. Yes. And Judas was a betrayer. He was going to sell Jesus for money. So he was very, very bad. So sometimes if somebody betrays us or says something bad about him, we have a saying in English, he's a Judas. That's a very bad person that we can't trust. Okay, very good. Okay, Kiet, you're next, please.
Yes.
Olive.
Jesus is betrayed and arrested. After saying these things, Jesus crossed the Kidron Valley with his disciples and entered a grove of olive trees. Judas, the betrayer, knew this place because Jesus had often gone there with his disciples. The leading priests and Pharisees had given Judas a contingent.
And a contingent is a small group of soldiers.
Of Roman soldiers and temple guards to accompany him, now with blazing torches, lanterns, and weapons. They arrived at the olive grove. Jesus fully realized all that was going to happen to him, so he stepped forward to meet them. Who are you looking for? He asked. Jesus the Nazarene. They replied, I am he. Jesus said, Judas, who betrayed him, was standing with them.
Okay, very good. All three of you have done very good on these first 5 verses. Okay, Ein, could you read 6 through 10, please?
Yes. As Jesus says, I am he. They all drew back and fell to the ground. Once more he asked them, Who are you looking for? And again they replied, Jesus, a Nazarene. I told you that I am he. Jesus says, and since I am the one you want, let these others go. He did this to fulfill his own statement. I did not lose a single one of those who had given me. Then Simon Peter Peter drew a sword and slashed up the right ear of Malchus, the high priest's slave.
Very good. Very good. Excellent on that. And so the word slashed means to cut quickly. And so with a sword or a knife, you could slash. That means to cut very quickly with one very fast motion.
Why Peter cut the ear of Malchus?
Well, he was probably aiming for his head, and he missed his head and accidentally cut off his ear. What he was trying to do, Kiet, he was trying to defend Jesus. These men came after Jesus with swords and with weapons and with torches, and Peter was trying to defend Jesus with his life by taking a sword, and he was probably aiming for the man's head, and he missed his head, and he cut him in the ear and cut off his ear. Yeah, but he was trying to protect Jesus.
Peter wanted to kill Malchus.
Yeah, he wanted to kill him. Yeah, and Jesus didn't like that. He didn't come to this world to kill people. He came to this world to save people. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Kiet, can you read the same 5 verses, please?
Yes. As Jesus said, I am he. They all drew back and fell to the ground. Once more he asked them, Who are you looking for? And again they replied, Jesus the Nazarene. I told you that I am he. Jesus said, and since I am the one you want, let these others go. He did this to fulfill his own statement. I did not lose a single one of those you have given me. Then Simon Peter drew a sword and slashed
That's
off
right.
the right ear of Malchus, the high priest's slave.
Excellent. You pronounced all the words correctly. You're all reading very well tonight. Very good. Okay, Tung, can you read the same verses, please?
Yes.
As
Jesus said, I am he. They all drew back and fell to the ground. Once more he asked them, Who are you looking for? And again they replied, Jesus the Nazarene. I told you that I am he. Jesus said, "And since I am the one who you want, let these others go." He did this to fulfill his own statement, "I did not lose a single one of those you have given me." Then Simon Peter drew a sword and slashed off the right ear of Malchus, the high priest's slave.
Very good. And Tung, do you know why it says that Jesus didn't lose any of those God gave him except Judas? He only lost Judas. Do you know why he lost Judas?
Oh, I think Judas is a bad guy.
Yeah, he was bad. He was a dishonest man, and he was dishonest when he was born. He was dishonest all his life, and he never changed. And he even stole money from Jesus. But see, Jesus knew that Judas was stealing the money. Jesus knew that Judas loved money, and that's why he sold Jesus was for money. He loved money more than he loved God. And so that was why he lost Judas. Yeah. Very good. Okay, Ayn, can you read 11 through 15, please?
Okay. But Jesus says to Peter, "Put your straw back into its sheath. Shall I not drink from the cup of suffering the Father has given me?" Jesus at the high priest's house. So the soldiers, their commanding officers, and the temple guards arrested Jesus and tied him up. First, they took him to Annas, since he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas,
That's right. Caiaphas. That's right.
the high priest at that time. Caiaphas was the one who had told the other Jewish leaders, "It's better that one man should die for the people." Simon Peter followed Jesus.
Yes, Simon.
Simon.
Peter.
Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Simon. Simon Peter followed Jesus, as did another of the disciples. That other disciple was acquainted.
That's right. Acquainted. That means he knew. Mm-hmm.
With
The high priest.
the high priest. So he was allowed to enter the high priest's courtyard with Jesus.
Okay, good. Very good. And isn't it stupid for the men to tie Jesus up? Jesus was the strongest man that ever lived. He helped create the universe and everything in it. And yet they put ropes around his hands to tie him up as if that would keep him from being able to do anything. We know that Jesus could have disappeared and vanished right out of their midst, but he wanted to fulfill his Father's commandment. So that's what he did. Okay, very good. Okay, Kiet, can you read the same 5 verses, please?
Yes. But Jesus said to Peter, "Put your sword back into its sheath."
Yeah, that's the protective pouch that the sword was in, was a sheath.
Shall I not drink from the cup of suffering the Father has given me? Jesus at the high priest's house. So the soldiers, their commanding officer, and the temple guards arrested Jesus and tied him up. First, they took him to Annas, since he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas. I don't know.
Caiaphas.
Caiaphas,
Yeah.
the high priest at that time. Caiaphas was the one who had told the other Jewish leaders, "It's better that one man should die for the people." Peter's first denial. Simon Peter followed Jesus, as did another of the disciples. That other disciple was acquainted with the high priest, so he was allowed to enter the high priest's courtyard with Jesus.
Good. Very good, kid. Yet, do you know what the word denial means?
Denial mean sorry. Denial mean he don't he know Jesus, but he
Yeah.
don't want to
That's right.
tell the
He said
people
he
he know
didn't.
him.
Yes. A denial is a lie.
A lie.
A denial means if, like, when I was a little boy, I would steal cookies out of the cookie jar. And my mom said, "David, did you take some cookies from the cookie jar?" I said, "No, Mom, I did not do it." Well, that was a denial. That was a lie. I denied I did it. So it's saying you didn't do something when actually you did do something. And in this case, Peter said he did not know Jesus, but he did know Jesus. He was lying. Yeah, very good. Okay, Tung, could you read the same 5 verses, please?
Yes. But Jesus said to Peter, "Put your sword back into its sheath."
That's right. Sheath.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. So, and not drink from the cup of suffering the Father has given me. This is at the high priest's house. So the soldiers, their commanding officer, and the temple guards arrested Jesus and tied him up. First, they took him to Annas, since he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas. The high priest at that time. Caiaphas was the one who had told the other Jewish leaders, "It's better that one man should die for the people." Peter's first denial. Simon Peter followed Jesus, as did another of the disciples. That other disciple was acquainted with the high priest, so he was allowed to enter the high priest's courtyard with Jesus.
Very good. Very good. All 3 of you are reading excellent tonight. You're pronouncing all the words correctly. Very good. Okay, Ayn, can you read 16 through 20, please?
Okay. Peter had to stay outside the gate. Then the disciple who knew the high priest spoke to the woman watching at the gate, and she let Peter in. The woman asked Peter, "You are not one of that man's disciples, are you?" "No," he said, "I am not." Because it was cold, the household servants and the guards had made a charcoal
Yeah, that's right. Charcoal.
fire.
Hmm.
They stood around it, warming themselves, and Peter stood with them, warming himself. The high priest questioned Jesus. Inside, the high priest began asking Jesus about his followers and what he had been teaching them. Jesus replied, "Everyone knows what I teach. I have preached regularly in the synagogues.
Yeah, that's a Jewish church building is a synagogue.
Synagogues,
Hmm.
and the temple, where the people gather. I have not spoken in secret."
Very good. Very good. And Ein, do you know what charcoal is?
Charcoal.
Hmm. Charcoal is some black fuel that you light a fire with. For example, a lot of the village people in Vietnam cook on charcoal fire. And
Charcoal
so they, hmm
is
and
the same
charcoal,
kind of
yeah,
uh,
you light the charcoal on fire
charcoal là dầu
and
hả hay
then
là
you can cook
than
with
đá
it.
ta? Than củi. Dạ. It means a wood burn to charcoal.
Yes, wooding burned, exactly. That's what charcoal is. The wood that's burned to charcoal, and you could
Charcoal.
cook with it. It burns very hot. Very good. Okay, very good. Okay, Kiet, it's your turn.
16. Peter had to stay outside the gate. Then the disciple who knew the high priest spoke to the woman watching at the gate, and she let Peter in. The woman asked Peter, "You are not one of that man's disciples, are you?" "No," he said, "I am not," because it was cold. Their household servants and the guards had made a charcoal fire.
Yeah, charcoal.
Charcoal
Mhm.
fire.
Yes.
They stood around it, warming themselves, and Peter stood with them, warming himself. The high priest questions Jesus. Inside, the high priest began asking Jesus about his followers and what he had been teaching them. Jesus replied, "Everyone knows what I teach. I have that what do you say that word? Pre, pre,
Preached.
preached
Hmm.
preached regularly. That's right đúng không? Ủa bác để biết.
That's right.
Yeah.
Regularly. Hmm.
Regularly in the synagogues and
Synagogue. Yes, synagogues. Hmm.
synagogues, and the temple where the people gathered. I have not spoken in secret.
Very good. And the synagogue is a Jewish church building where the Jews worshiped God. Okay, very good. Okay, Tung, could you read the same verses, please?
Yes. Peter had to stay outside the gate. Then the disciple who knew the high priest spoke to the woman watching at the gate, and she let Peter in. The woman asked Peter, "You are not one of that man's disciples, are you?" "No," he said, "I am not," because it was cold, and the household servant and the guards had made a charcoal fire. They stood around it, warming themselves, and Peter stood with them, warming himself. The high priest questioned Jesus. Inside, the high priest began asking Jesus about his followers and what he has been teaching them. Jesus replied, "Everyone knows what I teach. I have preached regularly in the synagogue
That's
and
right.
in the temple where the people gather. I have not spoken in secret."
Yes. Everything that Jesus had said, he had said in public in the synagogues and the temple. So they knew what he said. So he was keeping no secrets from them. He was telling them openly, and he was telling them honestly, and he was telling them the truth. Very good.
But
Okay.
David,
Yeah.
why do you say the reason don't need the church building,
Yes.
but why the Jewish people had synagogues?
Yeah. Because see, the Jews, they didn't believe what Jesus said. Jesus said you can worship God outside under a tree. You could worship God in a home. You don't need a church building to worship God. And so people who build church buildings are not following the teachings of Jesus, because Jesus says we could worship God in our home. In fact, what we're doing right now is worshiping God by reading the Bible. And it's not in a church building. It's in your homes where you're reading right now. But that's a good question, because to this day, many people build very extensive buildings to worship God in, but that's not according to the teachings of Jesus. That's why we want to read the Bible and see what the Bible says Jesus said.
Mhm.
But that is an excellent question. That's a question I wish more people would ask, because that is an honest question, Kit,
Yeah,
about church building.
yes.
Yeah, and the word church doesn't mean building, it means people.
Mhm.
We are the church. The people are the church of God. And the building is something that Jesus never taught. He never taught you had to worship in a building. You could worship outside, you could worship inside. You don't need a building to worship God in. And what we're doing by reading the Bible right now is worshiping God. And this is beautiful that we're all worshiping God right now by reading his word together.
Mhm.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay.
Okay. Ein, I think it's your turn to read 21 through, let's see. Now, Tung, did you get it? Yeah, Tung read. So, Ein, could you read 21 through 25, please?
Okay. Why are you asking me this question? Asked those who heard me. They know what I said. Then one of the temple guards standing nearby slapped Jesus across the face. Is that the way to answer the high priest? He demanded. Jesus replied, if I said anything wrong, you must prove it. But if I'm speaking the truth, why are you beating me? Then Annas bound Jesus and sent him to Caiaphas, the high priest. Peter's second and third denials. Meanwhile, as Simon Peter was standing by the fire warming himself, they asked him again, you are not one of his disciples, are you? He denied it, saying, no, I am not.
Yes, and see, that is now the second time that Peter has lied and denied that he knew Jesus. Okay, very good, and you read all the words correctly. Very good. Okay, Kiet, can you read the same verses, please?
Why are you asking me this question? Ask those who heard me. They know what I said. Then one of the temple guards standing nearby slapped Jesus across the face. Is that the way to answer the high priest? He demanded. Jesus replied, if I said anything wrong, you must prove that word with proof, right?
Prove.
Yeah, prove it.
Prove.
But if I am speaking the truth, why are you beating me? Then Annas bound Jesus and sent him to Caiaphas, the high priest. Peter's second and third denials. Meanwhile, as Simon Peter was standing by the fire warming himself, they asked him again, you are not one of his disciples, are you? He denied, saying, no, I am not.
Very good. Now, this is the second lie Peter told. Okay, Tung, can you read the same 5 verses, please?
Yes. Why are you asking me this question? Ask those who heard me. They know what I said. Then one of the temple guards standing nearby slapped Jesus across the face. Is that the way to answer the high priest? He demanded. Jesus replied, if I said anything wrong, you must prove it. But if I'm speaking the truth, why are you beating me? Then Anna bowed Jesus and sent him to Caiaphas, the high priest.
And you see, Tung, again, they are binding him. That means they're tying his hands with rope, and it doesn't make sense to bind the hands of Jesus when he's strong enough that he could destroy all of them by breathing on them, and he didn't do it. He just went along with them. He was like a sheep going to be killed, and he was just so gentle, even when they tied him up and beat him. Okay, continue with Peter's second and third denials.
Yes. Peter's second and third denials. Meanwhile, as Simon Peter was standing by the fire warming himself, they asked him again, you are not one of his disciples, are you? He denied it, saying, no, I am not.
Very good. Very good. So we're getting an idea that Peter was being dishonest. He loved Jesus, which was different than Judas. Judas didn't love Jesus. Judas loved money. But Peter loved Jesus, but he was dishonest. He was scared. He was afraid they were going to kill him if he said he knew Jesus. Okay, good. Okay, Ein, can you read 26 through 30, please?
But one of the household slaves of the high priest, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, asked, "Didn't I see you out there in the olive grove with Jesus?" Again Peter denied it, and immediately a rooster crowed.
And remember, Jesus had told them, before the rooster crows, you're going to deny me 3 times.
Yeah.
And now it did. Okay.
Jesus.
Continue with Jesus' trial before Pilate.
Okay. Jesus' trial before Caiaphas ended in the early hours of the morning. Then he was taken to the headquarters of the Roman governor.
Yeah, governor.
His accusers didn't go inside because it would defy them, and they wouldn't be allowed to celebrate the Passover. So Pilate, the governor, went out to them and asked, "What is your charge against this man?" "We wouldn't have handed him over to you. Handed him over to you if he weren't a criminal," they retorted.
Yeah, retorted. Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, Kiet, and you read the same verses, please.
Yes. 26. But one of the household slaves of the high priest, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off, asked, "Didn't I see you out there in the olive grove with Jesus?" Again Peter denied, and immediately rooster crowed.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus' trial before Pilate. Jesus' trial before Caiaphas ended in the early hours of the morning. Then he was taken to the headquarters of the Roman governor. His accusers didn't go inside because it would defile them, but they wouldn't be allowed to celebrate the Passover. So Pilate, the governor, went out to them and asked, "What is your charge against this man?" "We wouldn't have handed him over to you if he weren't a criminal," they retorted.
Yeah, retorted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, in other words, retorted means to answer. Answer in response to a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Okay, Tung, could you read those same 5 verses, please?
Yes. But one of the household slaves of the high priest, a relative two of the men whose ear Peter had cut up, asked, "Didn't I see you out there in the olive grove with Jesus?" Again Peter denied it, and immediately a rooster crowed.
Yeah, and a rooster is a male chicken.
Jesus' trial before Pilate. Jesus' trial before Caiaphas ended in the early hours of the morning. Then he was taken to the headquarters of the Roman governor. His accusers didn't go inside because it would defile them, and they wouldn't be allowed to celebrate the Passover. So Pilate, the governor, went out to them and asked, "What is your charge against
A charge. Yeah, what is your charge?
a charge against this man? We wouldn't have handed him over to you if he weren't a criminal," they retorted.
Yeah, answered. And remember, a male chicken is called a rooster, and a female chicken is called a hen, Hen.
Dạ.
And a baby chicken is called a chick, Chick. And in English, we have names for a male animal, a female animal, and then a baby animal. Do you know what we call a female dog? A female dog is called a bitch. And when a woman is very
Chó
bad,
cái á. Bitch.
yeah, we call a female dog a bitch. And we have a bad name for a woman who is very bad. We call her a bitch. And that's not a very nice thing to call a woman. But some women, they're just bad women. And a male dog is called a mutt, and then a female or a baby dog is called a puppy.
Puppy.
So we have names for the animals, male, female, and babies. But someday I'll give you a list of those. I'll send those like in an email so you could have the vocabulary of animals we have in English.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, Ein, can you read 31 through 35, please?
Okay. Then take him away and judge him by your
Church.
own law.
Mhm.
Pilate told them, only the Romans are permitted to execute someone.
Yeah, execute.
Execute
That
someone.
means to kill. Yeah.
The Jewish leader replied, this fulfilled Jesus' prediction about the way he would die. Then Pilate went back into his headquarters and called for Jesus to be brought to him. Are you the king of the Jews? He asked him. Jesus replied, is this your own question, or did others tell you about me? Am I a Jew? Pilate retorted, your own people and their leading priests brought you to me for trial. Why? What have you done? Jesus.
Yeah, what have you done? Yeah. So Pilate, he's a Roman. He's not a Jew. And he's trying to figure out why. The Jews brought him because the Jews were not allowed to kill people, but the Romans could kill people. And so they want the Romans to kill Jesus, which they did. They put him on a cross. But it was really the Jews who caused him to be put on a cross. Okay, good. Very good, Ein. Good pronunciation. Okay, Kiet, can you read those same 5 verses, please?
Yes. 31. Then take him away and judge him by your own law. Pilate told them, only the Romans are permitted to execute someone.
Yeah, it means to kill someone.
Execute someone.
Mhm.
The Jewish leaders replied, this fulfilled Jesus' prediction about the way he would die. Then Pilate went back into his headquarters and called for Jesus to be brought to him. Are you the king of the Jews? He asked him. Jesus replied, is this your own question, or did others tell you about me? I am a Jew. Pilate restarted. Your own people and they are leading or letting, but they
It's your own people are leading.
leading, yeah, their leading priest brought you to me for trial. Why? What have you done?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. And that was a good question, Kit, because um if uh if it's talking about um the mineral or the metal lead, and we sometimes coat something with lead, it would be leading. But since it's a verb for lead, it's leading. But that is a good question. So sometimes you have to just know how it sounds by where it is in a sentence. And so um, that's the exact same spelling, but a different pronunciation. But when it is a verb, it's lead and leading.
Leading, yeah.
Okay, that's a good question. Okay, Tung, could you read the same verses, 30
Em
through
mình đi hỏi
35, please?
hả?
Yes.
Ý là em đang trên kiểu
Then
Or
take
31 through 35.
yes. Then take him away and judge him by your own law.
Người ta thích mấy cái hoa
Pilate
này nè.
told them, only the Romans are permitted to execute execute someone.
Execute. Mm-hmm.
Execute someone. The Jewish leaders replied, this fulfilled Jesus' prediction about the way he would die. Then Pilate went back into his headquarters and called for Jesus to be brought to him. Are you the king of the Jews? He asked him. Jesus replied, is this your own question, or did others tell you about me?
Ráng build cái kênh ảo đi,
A
em sắp
Jew.
thành công rồi.
Pilate retorted, your own
Thiệt luôn á.
people and their leading priests brought you to me for trial. Why? What have you done?
Yeah. Pilate wants to know why the Jews brought him. And now Jesus tells them something spiritual, that his kingdom is not from this life or this world, it's from heaven. Okay, so Ein, could you read 36 through 40, please?
Okay. Jesus answered, my kingdom is not an earthly kingdom. If it were, if it were, my followers would fight to keep me from being handed over to the Jewish leaders. But my kingdom is not of this world. Pilate says, "So you are a king?" Jesus responded, "You say I am a king? Actually, I was born and came into the world to testify to the truth. All who love the truth recognize that what I say is true." "What is truth?" Pilate asked. Then he went out again to the people and told them, "He is not guilty. Guilty or guilty?
What? Thì mất luôn bạn luôn đấy.